Can we turn off the lights? It's burning. Here we are. We find ourselves in this sacred space, a haven against the whirlwind of our world, united by our common longing for genuine connection. We pause to reflect on the gentle pace of this meaningful connection. In a culture obsessed with grand pronouncements and viral moments, let us turn our attention to the subtle nuances of human interaction, the moments that echo long after the words have been said and faded, and the gestures that have touched our hearts. Linda Kaplan and Robin Koval, in their book, The Power of Small, wrote, "Small is powerful because it is intimate, personal, and accessible. It is the quiet moments, the unassuming acts of kindness that we reveal our true depths of care. Perhaps a listening ear when silence speaks louder than words, a gentle touch that conveys empathy, or a shared meal that nourishes the heart and soul. These are the moments that etch themselves into our memories, the seeds from which lasting love grows." I confess, I have a peculiar badge of honor. I have a calloused knee. It's a small thing, a silly thing maybe, but it's a tangible reminder of shared presence. It's earned through countless moments of kneeling down to greet enthusiastic tail waggers. I'll offer a scratch behind the ears, a whisper, "Good dog, good dog, good dog, big dog, you're a big dog." My partner reminds me that these moments, these simple interactions, along with the chat with their humans, are more than just pleasantries. They are an act of seeing, of hearing, and of truly being present in a world that often overlooks the individual. She also reminds me that it turns our 20-minute dog walk into something more like an hour and a half. Take a moment to think about the week that you just had. Were there acts of kindness or connection that resonated most deeply with you? Let us explore the ways in which we can cultivate a world where connection, compassion, and care are the norm. Let us also listen deeply to the unspoken words of those around us, and may our responses be gentle and profound as the whisper of a summer breeze. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. It's good to see you all here. I am Kikanza Nuri Robbins, and I am lighting the chalice with words from Brian Andreas. Some of you may know him as Story People. He is an artist and philosopher. And he writes, "There are days I drop words of comfort on myself, like falling rain, and I remember it is enough to be taken care of by myself."
Good morning. There's a slight typo in the program. This is a song called Here to Love, not Here's to Love, Here to Love. We must all unite for we are one creation. We must join the fight, together we are strong. We must do what's right in every situation. Love each other's lives as you would do your own. Just think twice before you cast your stone at someone's soul. It's their life, so the choice is theirs and theirs alone. We're not here to judge, we are here to love. There's no room for hate. We are just one human race. We must rise above. We are here to love. There's no time to waste anymore. We must all unite. There's no more segregation. When you've seen the light, there's nowhere else to go. And with peace inside, no walls can separate us. We would be as one because this earth's our home. Just think twice before you cast your stone at someone's soul. It's their life, so the choice is theirs and theirs alone. We're not here to judge, we are here to love. There's no room for hate. We are just one human race. We must rise above. We are here to love. There's no time to waste anymore. Will we learn from our past? Our cup is running fast. We're not here to judge, we are here to love. There's no room for hate. We are just one human race. We must rise above. We are here to love. There's no time to waste anymore. We aren't here to judge, we are here to love. There's no room for hate. We are all just human race. We must rise above. We are here to love. There's no time to waste anymore.
Wow, David and Ryan, thank you so much. That was beautiful. Greetings and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community Church of Santa Monica. I am Cassie Winters, and I'm delighted to be your worship associate this morning. We're so glad to have all of you here with us and in our online sanctuaries. But I want to give also a special welcome to a member from long ago. Her name is Ann Thierman. Ann Thierman painted a mural for us up in room 4. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's gorgeous, and we treasure it. And if you haven't been up to see it, please know you're more than welcome to just wander anywhere on campus and go on up and see room 4. Thank you, Ann. At this time, we'd like you to silence your cell phones just in case. As we gather in this sanctuary and in our virtual spaces, we recognize that our homes and the homes of most of our members and friends are located on the sacred waters and upon the unceded lands of indigenous peoples. This is the traditional home of the Kizh Nation, the 14 bands of the Chumash tribes, and others. We honor their presence among us, remember the devastating histories of their stolen land, and honor their ongoing struggle for equity, justice, and sovereignty, while celebrating their existence into the future. This Unitarian Universalist congregation is an open and affirming, welcoming, queer and transgender people, and people from many diverse backgrounds, identities, and abilities as we live into our commitments to intersectionality, anti-racism, and countering oppressions to build a community that is radically inclusive, whole, just, and sustainable. We celebrate many religious beliefs and learn from wisdom, both ancient and contemporary, sacred and secular. We offer ministries and programs to serve the needs of our congregation and to be of service to the wider world, including chalice circles, small group ministries, weekly meditation meetings, book clubs, children and youth religious education classes, and activities for people of all ages. We also join with several social justice movements to promote love, peace, and equity among people and care for our loving planet Earth. There's something here for everyone, truly, and if we don't have it, please let us help you build or create it so that you may offer something that you value to the community. May you find inspiration, comfort, and community here. I have a few announcements. Some of them you can find on the website, well, pretty much all of them you can find on the website or in the order of service or in the Thursday e-newsletter that you receive. In September, at the end of the month, 28th and 29th, the UUA is going to be putting on a UUA-wide sort of like it's sort of like a conference, but it's more like a revival is what they call it. And it's called Reimagine Together, from an extraction age to the new era. It's designed to get all the churches and communities across the nation to mobilize for meaningful climate action. We will participate in 2 half-days of climate justice revival here, along with other UU congregations across the country. The goal is to explore cooperative efforts needed to effectively work together to address the climate crisis and the unequal burdens of climate change on the most vulnerable communities. This will be a big event, and it has activities for youth, workshops, and advocacy for adults, and there'll be a vegan potluck afterwards. You don't want to miss that. Apparently, there's some really good recipes out there. Don't forget that Camp Devenneville Pines is coming up in the middle of September on September 13th to the 15th. It's a really great way to get up into the mountains, sit with our natural surroundings, and actually form closer bonds with one another, more than you can here at coffee hour. The folks that are running the table are on vacation today, but please know you could still sign up on our website, and there's still time to sign up if they come back. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to come back. Go camp. I'd also like to remind you, I asked Allison Kendall, she's phenomenal at setting up these climate justice things for us, helped us get our green committee, or our green certificate, and she also got the solar panels put up on the top of our building recently. So wonderful work to Allison. And I've asked her to put up a table outside. It'll be covered with a green tablecloth because there's so much to know about this revival that I can't tell you here. Don't forget to collect little bits. You'll probably use like a jar or something of water to bring back to the in-gathering service in the beginning of September. Everybody will pour in their water from their travels, and it's just a lovely way of getting back together in the new year. Members are invited to the last reflecting circle on 8/22 via Zoom at 4 p.m. Or you could leave at 10:45 and go to the one that they're holding upstairs. Maybe they're sitting with Anne, I don't know. Sunday, Soulful Sundown. I think they're going to kind of start doing this on Second Sunday. I don't know if many of you remember Second Sunday suppers were just a wonderful opportunity to bring food, sit down and talk with one another. So the Soulful Sundown is now going to be on second Sundays, so it's Sunday Soulful Sundown. I'm already having trouble. The next one will be on August 18th from 5:30 to 8:30. Bring your favorite potluck dish as well as a favorite wine or brew to share along with others. And get ready with your dancing shoes because there's live music, and everybody has such a great time. There's always so much more than I can mention here up on the stage, so please take a look at our website for more information. Okay. I know it's getting a little hot and sweaty out there, so I'm going to let you stand up and shake out your clothes and greet your neighbor. Oh my God.
Tell them if they're going upstairs, this is a good time to leave.
Okay, what time is it now? What time is it now?
It's 10 minutes off.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for greeting each other so wonderfully and enthusiastically. So if you are going to the listening circle this morning upstairs, now would be a good time to go ahead and leave and go do that. We're getting ready to sing our opening hymn, Rejoice in Love, We Know and Share. Okay, I guess that's it. Maybe they want us to have a little bit of a shorter service so that we can not be so hot. All right, let us recite our covenant in English and then in Spanish. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To split together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, thus do we covenant with each other. El amor es la enseñanza de esta iglesia. Buscar la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es la oración. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar el conocimiento en la libertad, servir a la humanidad en comunión, así es como comunimos unos a otros. Love that. Now is the time, if you have a donation for the Westside Food Bank, to come on up and bring it forward. We encourage everyone, adults and youth and children alike, to bring something up for the Westside Food Bank. We've been collecting for them for many, many years to feed our food insecure neighbors. We make about 50 lunches after the service. Well, I'm gonna just let you do that, and I'm gonna have Jessica go ahead and bring in her little ones. Thank you.
Hi, friends. Do you want to come join me up on the steps after you put your donations in there? Thank you for bringing something.
Hey, Emerson. Emerson, where's Jessica? She's over there.
Do you want to come sit by me, Sebastian? Bring your crew.
Thanks, Ellie.
Hi. Hi, Eloise. Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Good. It's good to see you. Hi, Emerson. You drew a rainbow? That's great. Thank you. I love the creativity. So today, I had a question for you all. Have you ever seen someone speaking with American Sign Language? Yeah? So it's different from. Sorry, thank you. It's different from a lot of spoken languages in that it's a language that was created by people who are deaf so that they can communicate to each other when you can't hear. And there are other forms of sign language I was learning about this week that go back even further than that, because ASL was created in the early 1800s, and there's other forms of sign language, and one I learned about is called Plains Sign Language, and that's a sign language that was shared among lots of different people who lived in the Great Plains in America, who spoke a bunch of different languages and didn't necessarily understand each other's spoken language, but they created a sign language that they could all share across their different cultures. So I want to know if you guys could maybe help me show everyone a few signs that I learned. Can you hold this for me, actually, Yeah. Here you can help me demonstrate. So this one, I like this one. This means bear. So we sort of cup our hands and put them like little bear ears. So that's bear. I like that one. And then we have for children, go like this, sort of like little roots growing up. That's children. Good. And then we have the sign for elder, kind of like you're holding a staff or a cane, like that. Elder. Yeah, good job. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's children. Good job. And so I think that thinking about different kinds of sign language is a good way that we can remember that sometimes there are ways that we can communicate with others that don't even require words. Can any of you think of a way that you could show someone kindness without even using your words? I think of when someone gives me a hug when I want a hug, and that's a good way of showing kindness. Or what about when I've seen you guys share toys and arts projects and stuff. That's a good way of showing kindness. So there's lots of ways that when we are having a hard time communicating with each other, we can remember that actions speak louder than words and show each other kindness. I think that's the sign that it's time to go to the cottage. So we'll all take off while we sing our song. Are you guys ready?
And thanks to Jessica and the kids. This is a time for sharing joys and sorrows with our community. This is one of the reasons that we are community, because we can come together to share, and joys are magnified, and we've got a spider web up here. And fears are shared. And sorrows are held as we comfort one another. We have a particular joy this morning. I want to introduce you to Rabbi Shira Friedland, who is the rabbi of the Santa Monica Synagogue, which many of you know is right down the street. And the reason she's here is that our joy is that she and her community, her congregation, they will be sharing space on our campus. So we're going to be having roommates and opportunities for building community in new ways. And so we'd like you to meet her today. Some of you may have met her at other times because she has preached here from our chancel, but we just wanted to begin to get you familiar with new faces, because they will be faces of our new and expanded community. Come on up, Rabbi.
Hi. It's so nice to receive applause before you even do anything. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your community. I have Howard Guest is here, here we go. This is our president of the Santa Monica Synagogue. And Mary Brotman is here. She is the secretary. You can stand up too, Mary. It's not going to kill you. Mary is the secretary of our board, and one of those people who makes everything happen. So if you have any questions about us, Howard and Mary are very good to go to. As long as I know like a bunch of stuff. But I'm very much looking forward as well to getting to know all of you, and you getting to know all of us, and doing things together, and being your roommates. I love roommates, so thank you for having us. Yeah.
So, Linda and Greg, Linda, volunteer Linda, who is on every single committee in this church. Linda and Greg are in Missouri this weekend for Dante's 4th birthday and to get cuddles from Dante's little sister. We continue to hold in the light Brian Oakes, who is continuing to heal after his biking accident. And we are remembering Carlton. Carlton's grandfather, Eli Bontrager, died this week. And Carlton tells us that his grandfather was blessed to live a great life. Then the family was really lucky to share his 100th birthday celebration with him just a month or so before he died. And so we hold you in the light as you mourn the loss of your grandfather. There are other joys and sorrows that you carry with you, that you hold in your heart. And in this time of meditation, we will hold them all in the light. Our reading is also our meditation. I've given you the link, the web link, so that you can look it up later. But right now, I invite you to let the words wash over you as you consider this blessing for your great, big, dumb heart. Blessed are you when your kids are ungrateful, when your parents are unbearable, or when they would have been if they were still around, when you help to fix an unfixable friend, when you listen much longer than a normal person should, or you give selflessly out of meager resources. Blessed is your terrible evaluation of who is worth it. Your cost-benefit analysis would be the laughing stock of any economist. You ignored the signs. Will this make you richer, happier, well-rested? Probably not. You have been noticing for a while how these small moments, the privilege of wrapping a blanket around this love, that friendship, this stranger, are impossible to quantify. Love is adding up to so much more somehow. Because blessed are you whose heart has grown 3 sizes, regardless. You who push through the fear of intimacy, the fear of loss, the fear of all the unknowns, and still choose to love. Blessed are we, loving beyond our limits, loving when it doesn't make sense, loving without a lifetime guarantee, loving when it might break our hearts. That is, of course, the best thing about us, our great, big, dumb hearts. In the Christian sacred text known as the New Testament, we read, Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a few cents. Calling his disciples, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, she put in everything, all she had to live on. The widow's small gesture had a great impact. Small gestures, that is the love language that we use to nurture a relationship, to reinforce our values, to let someone know you see them and you care. Small gestures like the secret touch that just you and someone else share, the knowing look, the shared but very inappropriate laughter. You tell a lot about who you are and what you value with the small gestures that no one sees, except for the person they were intended for. And then there are the small gestures that telegraph to the world who you are and what is important to you. Many years ago, Maria Losavia wrote a poem for her teenage children. Now, if any of you have been around or raised teenage children, you can imagine the kind of poem you would like to write for them. But this is what she wrote. She said, "You tell on yourself by the friends you seek, by the very manner in which you speak, by the way you employ your leisure time, by the use you make of dollar and dime. You tell what you are by the things you wear, by the spirit in which your burdens bear, by the kinds of things at which you laugh, by the records you play on your phonograph." So you can tell how old this is. It goes on, but you get the point. So I ask you this morning, how do you tell on yourself? How do you communicate without words who you are and what you care about? What are the small gestures that make the biggest difference to you? What do you know makes a difference for others? Can you think of a time that someone made a difference for you? I can. Now, many of you know that I don't camp. And my dislike of camping started when I was very young because my mother sent me to camp every summer. And every year I was more convinced that she hated me. So when I was around 8, I went to Rainbow Girls Camp, and it was camp for Methodist girls. I went with Mrs. Stillwell, the minister's wife, and her daughter. Now, my mother assured me, as I was begging her, please don't send me, that they were going to look out for me. Well, they didn't. On the first night we got there, they dropped me off with the girls my age, and they took off for the big girls' camp. So there I was, all alone, in the dark, with the mosquitoes, and a bunch of other little girls that I didn't know. I was already miserable. Now, there was a campfire. There were adults there, but I didn't pay attention to them. And the girls started singing a song that I didn't know. So at that moment, I couldn't have felt more alone or more desolate. And I had to be there for a whole week. So I stood by myself, staring into the fire, and I started to cry. Silent tears rolling down my cheeks. I was good at looking miserable. And someone saw me, another little girl, and she moved over to where I was standing. She didn't say a word. She didn't even look at me. She just took my hand. With that small gesture, I knew that I was going to be all right. And I was. That was my first lesson in everything counts, especially the small stuff, the little things. A kind word, a smile, a gesture that says, I see you and I care. Like thank you notes on stationery with a stamp. Now, we boomers know the power of thank you will take you a long way. One newish bride said to me, well, I've been avoiding you, Kikanza, because we never did send thank you notes after the wedding. And so I replied, I said, it's never too late to say thank you. And actually, At this point, people will notice your thank you note, and they'll probably think better of you because of it. Before I started seminary, I spent 40 days with the Jesuits up in Northern California, right up the road from Apple headquarters, in silence. There were 50 of us from 11 different countries, and we didn't talk for a month. We had 2 break days, maybe on day 10 and day 25, but the rest of the time, there was no talking. And in the silence, there were many opportunities for small gestures. We lived in dorms, and Abran was my across-the-hall neighbor. And he and I worked on a puzzle for several days, and finally I let him just take it back to his room because it was really hard and I was tired of it. Then late one night, again in the dark, it was really quiet because there's no talking, there's no TV, there's no radios. I hear this rustling at my door, and I'm saying, oh, they're coming to get me. And then underneath the door comes the puzzle with one little piece sitting on top. He had saved the last piece for me. 30 years later, Abran and I are still friends. So another time at this same retreat, I had a chance to say, without words, I see you and I care. One morning, there were just 2 of us left at the breakfast table where I was sitting. The food was not that good, and by that time, most people had stopped pretending that breakfast was worth the trouble. So my table mate and I were sitting there, and she was obviously having a hard time, not with the food, but with whatever was coming up for her during the retreat. And I could tell because she was weeping into her oatmeal. So that morning, each of us had gotten one huge, beautiful strawberry, something we actually wanted to eat. Mine was still on my plate, and I looked at her, and I pushed my strawberry over to her. She looked up, her face melted, and I just knew that I had done the right thing. A week later, on our break day, she told me how very much it meant to her for me to see her in her misery and let her know that I cared. Small gestures mean a lot. Showing up for others, stepping outside of your own feelings to acknowledge the feelings of others. I've been watching the Olympics this week, and I've been impressed by the gestures of sportsmanship, the hugs and the handshakes after a race, stopping to pick somebody up or help someone after they've fallen, with their teammates and with their opponents. Now, small gestures can be strategic in order to get something that you want, or they can be from your big, dumb heart, simply because you care. A small gesture shows that you know the other person, that you know something about them. Sometimes I worship with the Santa Monica Quakers, and the greeters stand at the door and they offer you a hug or a handshake. And they say, would you like a hug? Would you like a handshake? And you know, germophobic me, I say, no, neither one, thank you very much. And so the greeter says to me, then I will bow. And I am touched because some people are very offended when you don't accept their hug. See, every single thing counts. Everything counts, everyone counts, including the slights. Now, you may know someone who apologizes all the time, but they're not sorry for what they've done to you. And you may find, I forgive you, a hard thing to say because you really don't feel forgiving. But sometimes it's the small gesture like that that will make a difference, especially when you forgive someone for being themselves. You might as well, because they're never going to change. You're not going to change them. And sometimes without saying anything, because you have let go of your annoyance in your process of forgiving them, their behavior shifts because you have shifted. In the Tao Te Ching, we read, water is fluid, soft, and yielding. But water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. Small gestures change things. forgiving yourself is a small gesture. And so I ask you, for what would you forgive yourself? What about all those times you call yourself names? Stop it. Stop calling yourself names. Give yourself some grace for being judgmental, for being a curmudgeon, for missing the mark again. And I'm not suggesting that you offer yourself up as a doormat. Know that the roles of martyr and victim have lots of competition and very little appreciation. But remember, there is always room for grace. Grace for yourself, grace for others, grace you can offer with very small gestures.
In the spirit of hospitality, I would like to highlight our weekly greeters, welcome table, ushers, and coffee committee. They're warm and friendly volunteers who help welcome us here each and every week, and they also support special events and with care and refreshments to all. Thank you for all of the hard work. As a part of our spiritual practice, we equally share what we bring in today with the church and with a community organization doing the work that supports our values. This week, we're going to share with Sojourn Domestic Violence Services. It's a local organization providing trauma-informed, culturally responsive services to individuals and families who have experienced domestic violence and empowering communities with the knowledge and support to build healthy relationships. Sojourn offers vital shelter services, support services, legal services, outreach, and education, and more. Since 1977, Sojourn has been meeting the needs of the community with emergency situations and long-term needs of thousands of domestic violence survivors. I'd also just like to throw out one thing that we've been doing a lot of is hail Brad Hutchinson. He had the goal of reaching, I think it was 18,000 postcards. He tells me, I saw it today in the announcement that it was like 15,600, but actually when I went over there, he's like, we're about 300 from 18,000. So it looks like we're gonna go way over what we need, or what we're just gonna keep going, right, until it's time to vote. So if you'd like to grab some postcards, we would love that. Also, don't forget that if you make a donation, the Spirit Level Fund is very likely to triple your donation, and so a $25 donation could turn into $100, which is great. As you can see, there are many ways to give. You can scan the QR code, you can text that number, you can look at our website, all of the various options. If you're not that much into technology or you're new here today, you can drop a check or cash in the baskets that will be coming by in just a moment. Thank you so much for all that you do, all that you continue to give financially and with your time and your talent to support the life of this church and the wider world. The offering will now be gratefully received.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Thank you. Please join us in body or spirit, hymn number 131. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the night.
This service is just about over. Our service to the world continues. And before we leave, I want to acknowledge and thank David for leading us in music. This is the first time we have been on the chancel together, so thank you so much. I know it's a lot different when you're up here by yourself and you just have Ryan behind you. And there's so many people who helped to put this service on. We are grateful for those who are able to worship with us through the power of technology, and our two technology wizards are back there. And then we've got some other technology folks whom we never see, but who make sure that the service gets delivered. And the Rima and Pam and Liz and all the folks who make sure that we know what song we're on and that the slides are functioning, and Tom comes in and sweeps away the leaves that somebody tracked in on the carpeting, and on and on and on. And we've got coffee and snacks in Forbes Hall for after the service. So we are grateful for all that people have done. We're grateful. If this is the first time you've been here, we hope that you come back. And if you've been coming for some time, we're glad that you keep returning, and we hope that you will continue to do that. And so as we put out the light of our chalice, we hold the fire of our commitment in our hearts, leaving this service knowing that our service to the world and ourselves starts with very small gestures.